Isn't the Bible also a human book? Yes, it absolutely is. In fact, the Bible is 100% human. It was written by human authors, men like Moses, Joshua, Samuel, David, Isaiah, Jeremiah, Ezekiel, Ezra, Nehemiah, Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, Paul, Peter, and others. Each wrote within their historical context, using the languages of their day, Hebrew in the Old Testament and Greek in the New Testament. The Bible wasn't dictated mechanically. It flows through distinct human literary styles. We find the soaring poetry of Isaiah, the laments of Jeremiah, the gripping parables of Jesus, and Paul's structured letters. Each word was penned by real people using their own voices, experiences, and expressions. It spans a wide variety of human literary forms. There's narrative, like in Samuel and Kings. There's poetry in Job and Psalms. Jesus teaches in parables throughout the Gospels, such as in Matthew 13:1-43. Galatians 4 features allegory. Revelation presents symbolic visions. James uses metaphors and similes. Matthew 19:24 includes satire, and Psalm 6:6 and Luke 14:26 show hyperbole. These literary devices, deeply human, convey divine truth in rich, memorable ways. The Bible also reflects diverse human perspectives. Psalm 23 portrays God as a shepherd. Kings offers a prophetic view, while Chronicles carries a priestly focus. Luke, a physician, approaches his writings with careful investigation, as seen in Luke 1:1-4 and Acts 1:1. Paul's letters, particularly 1 and 2 Timothy and Titus, show his pastoral concern for church life and doctrine. Biblical authors wrote with the limitations of human observation. They described what they saw, not what we now know scientifically. For instance, they referred to the sun rising or setting, language we still use today, even though the sun doesn't actually move. We see this in Joshua 1:15 and 10:13. And different thought patterns appear throughout. Romans is a tight theological argument, while Galatians brims with urgency and passion. In 1 Corinthians 1:14-16, Paul even pauses to correct himself, briefly forgetting who he baptized, a strikingly human moment. The Bible also expresses raw human emotion. Paul speaks of deep sorrow for Israel in Romans 9:2, frustration with the Galatians in Galatians 3:1, and loneliness in 2 Timothy 4:9-16. He shares despair in 2 Corinthians 1:8 and joy in Philippians 1:4. These emotions are unfiltered and deeply real. Authors brought their own interests. Luke uses medical terms, fitting his background. Hosea and Amos, connected to rural life, reflect that in their writing. Amos was a shepherd from Tekoa, Amos 1:1. James references nature in James 1:6 and 1:10-11. We find echoes of shepherds, athletes, and farmers in John 10:1-16, 1 Corinthians 9:24-27, and Matthew 13. Cultural practices are embedded throughout. In 1 Thessalonians 5:26, believers are told to greet each other with a holy kiss. In 1 Corinthians 11:5, a woman's veil signifies respect. People washed feet on arrival, John 13, shook off dust as judgment, Luke 10:11, and reclined at meals, John 13:23. Biblical writers even used other sources. Joshua 10:13 mentions the book of Jashar. Numbers 21:14 cites the book of the wars of the Lord. 1 Chronicles 29:29 names the records of Samuel, Nathan, and Gad. Luke refers to earlier accounts in Luke 1:1-4. Paul quotes pagan poets in Acts 17:28, 1 Corinthians 15:33, and Titus 1:12. Jude references the testament of Moses and the book of Enoch, Jude 9:14. Here's the key: while the Bible is fully human, it is also fully divine. All truth ultimately comes from God. Its humanity doesn't lessen its inspiration, it amplifies it. Through these human words, God speaks eternal truth.